Hello. All right, making bread. I got all the kids here and the cousins and everything, so it's a wild ride. Here's my hard white wheat, and I'm gonna mill it in this. So 1 second. All right, we're gonna get 3.
All right, Abram, are you coming with me? It's just you and me, buddy.
Okay, 1. 2. And 3. And I close it because it's quieter. Opa, there we go. I skipped a step. I actually like to proof my yeast before I do that, but I got so distracted by all the things that are happening around me that I forgot to proof the yeast first. I mean, it just takes a couple minutes, and while I'm proofing it, then I mill my grain, so I'm not like losing any time. But that's fine. So here is my milled grain. And I'm going to take my machine down. Here we go. So, I can get it out of the way. Okay, so I will show you the proofing of the yeast. Like I said, I start with the yeast, so do that first. All right. Okay, I go till it's warm to the touch, warmer than my skin. And I do 1.5 cups, so, and I just put it right into my machine. Two. 3. Okay, and then I pulled this out of the freezer, and I'm going to do a tablespoon of this in there. So I spread this around, and then to get it really going, I put in a little bit of sugar just to get the yeast going a little faster. I usually do about a teaspoon. It's cane sugar. Okay. And then I will mix it a little bit just so that it's incorporated. Boop. Okay, now I'm going to let that sit until it starts to bubble. Okay, while that's rising, or the yeast is proofing, to clarify, for the water temperature, you want it in between, I believe it's 90 to 110. So somewhere around there, 100, 105 is ideal if you want to actually take a thermometer. But usually, you know, like when a kid has a fever and you can like put your hand against and you can feel that they're hot. I mean, that's kind of what I go off of. I heard if you're doing like an artisanal bread, you really do need to measure the temperature of your water. Another thing is I do like to keep it a little warmer or hotter than just 100 or whatever, because I'm going to put it in a cold bowl and that will bring the temperature down. So I like to err on the warmer side of that 90 to 110 than cold, because then you'll have a colder temperature, and then it takes longer for everything to get going. So just temperature info. If it's a hot day outside, then your bread will probably rise faster. If it's colder, if your bread is sitting like mine sits over a vent right here, and that's a cold air vent. So when I make bread, I have to close my cold air vent because it will take so much longer because I let my dough and stuff sit right over there. I could move it, but that's where it lives. That's its home. So I'm just going to close the vent. Okay, so you can see, let it focus a little bit, that it is starting to bubble up. Do you see that? Can I zoom in? Focus. It's not very bright, I'm sorry. But you can see that looks different than it looked before. So that means this yeast is alive, so I can bake with it and it will work. So now I'm going to add the rest of my ingredients. I'm going to start with my olive oil and add a 1/3 cup of olive oil, and then I'm going to use that same cup and do the honey, because if you do the olive oil first, then the honey just kind of pours out of the cup, whereas if you do honey, it'll stick to this. So I'm going to add that. 1 second. Okay, I lied. First I'm doing the salt. So it's 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I may have to just do this without showing you. 1.5 teaspoons. Yeah, you can grab Ari. You could see how much this has risen since. So we know this is good, or it's proofed. Yeah, the baby is up. Nope, he didn't nap. We got all the bam bam here. Okay. Okay, so here's the third cup of oil first.
The house we went to look at today had a big gate, like what covered the top of your stairs bed.
Oh.
And it's like, oh, that's perfect for Ari.
Or the next babies.
Yeah, so the whole upstairs of that house is just beautiful.
But they didn't finish the basement or the downstairs bedroom, nothing.
No, they have.
And then the honey.
Yeah, he needs diapers. So.
Ari needs a diaper.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's why he's awake.
Probably.
Boy, yeah. Well, Grandpa doesn't do diapers. Sorry. I love you. You're awesome. You're one of my favorite people in the whole world, but Grandpa won't do a diaper.
I'll do him. I'm just going to finish this. Okay. And then, because there's been oil in there, it just kind of slides out nicely. See that? I mean, a little sticks, but not nearly as much on the side. Okay. All right. The last thing is adding the flour. So this is the part that I will film. Well, closer. Obviously, I'm filming everything. This is the trickier part because it really does depend on the day and like what, if it's a more humid day. So I'm mixing that. Okay. The recipe, 3 cups of grains, should be pretty close, right? Like that's close, so I know I can add most of that, but I usually, the last cup or so is when I do not, like when I'm more careful. So I'm gonna start, I don't know if there's a way I can, let me see if I can set this up so you can see. Okay, this is how I'm gonna try to do it. So, here we go. Hopefully I can do it. You watching. So I'm slowly adding it. And incorporating it. I'm gonna up the speed. Okay, let's see where we're at. I'm upping the speed again. Still sticking. Still sticking. Yes. So let's see. We might use most of it today. Let's see if it pulls away. No. Okay, that's doing it. See? Okay. Alright, so let me turn. Woo! So you can see how it's pulling away. It's sticking a little. I like mine moist, so I don't mind if it sticks a little, because as it needs, the machine needs, it will stick less and less and less. So this is how much I have left over. So it must be a more humid day today from my 4.5 cups. Can you see that? Maybe I need to turn it around. See that? So that's about, I don't know, a little less than a quarter cup left. So I'm gonna need that for 5-7 minutes. I'll show you what it looks like when I feel good about it. I don't do it, you don't want to over knead it. Just stick in, it's great. Yeah, and so I can't go over, I think my machine over kneading it is over 8 minutes, so I won't go over that. But somewhere in there I'm going to keep an eye on it, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, so this looks good. Maybe a little wet, but that's okay. I'd rather err on being wet. So I pull this out, and it just kind of slides off. That's how I know it's well kneaded, is it's not sticking too hard to that claw there. The claw. And then it's just a smooth, it's not like ripping off, just kind of a smooth dough. And then I am lazy, so I just kind of spread it out in here. And then I let it do its first rise in the bowl. I don't need to dirty more bowls, just cover that bad boy up and let it rise. I'm gonna unplug it. All right, doing some yard work. So, I'm gonna check on this bread, on the dough. And I just do the little finger poke test. So I'm poking it and see how it's staying down. That means it is plenty risen. If it bounced right back up, then it would not be ready. But since it's leaving that indent, it could be even a little over risen, but that's fine. First go is not too bad. All right, so I'm gonna take this out. I'm gonna prop it on something, and then I'm gonna roll the, I'm gonna roll out the rolls. Okay, so I've made this before. I know that this amount of dough will make about 15 to 14 rolls at 75 to 80 grams each. And so what I do is I take bit single-handed. I usually don't do this single-handed. And then I put that on there. Okay, so that is just about right. And then let's set this down. Then I'm going to, maybe I need to set it down a little higher. I'm going to look at the dough. Okay, I'm going to shape it. So I'm flattening it and spreading it and kind of making it bunch on the end. Then I take that whole thing, go down here on the table, and then I just cup and spin and make a ball. And then I put it in here. Boop. And then I do that over and over and over and over. Repeat process. I will be back. Okay, so it made about 14, and then I had a tiny little bit left over, so I just made a little ball there. Now, just cover and let it sit. This second part is more important about the rising. I'm going to have to check on it a little bit more frequently because when it's ready, you have to put it in. So either that or you throw it in the fridge or something, cold temperature to stop it from baking, right? Okay, let's check on these rolls. They do not look ready.
Downstairs.
Okay, hold on. See how that just comes back in? They're getting pretty close, though. Springing back up, though. Yeah, see how it's springing back up? It should come up, but not that fast. So they have a little bit longer. My guess is maybe 20 minutes. Half hour. They should be ready. All right. I'll be back. Well, I totally got distracted, so hopefully I didn't overrise it. Doop. Nope. Boop. Okay, that should be good. So it's coming up slowly. You see that? All right, I'm going to throw those bad boys in. Oven. Whew. 350. And okay. And then I'll put them in. Honestly, I don't really keep track. I think it's like 25. Okay.
Tell me when you're ready.
But I will periodically look on and make sure it's good, and then I will tell you exactly how long, because I don't time things. And I feel like every oven is always like 1 or 2 minutes off or whatnot. So it could be 30 minutes. I don't know. We'll find out. Okay, 25 minutes was right. So let's put those bad boys on the table. This is the finishing touch, okay? It's putting some butter on top, and that gives it a really pretty glaze. Whoop! This is heavy. This is why I work out, so I can lift that with one hand. I'm a boss. Maybe I should close that. As much as I would love for kids to get into that, and then I grab some butter. Oh, this. Honestly, I've seen people like, hold on. I've seen people melt it and brush it on. This works fine for me. I just do this. This is the lazy mom way of putting butter on there because they're so hot that they will melt the butter, and so you get that beautiful little sheen and some yummy butter flavor on top. Now, do not eat them super warm. Obviously, you're going to burn your mouth. And that's that. Look at how pretty those look. Yay. So, hope you enjoyed this really chaotic batch of of rolls. Oh, I cracked that one and pushed that one a little too hard. See, you can make rolls even when you're doing yard work. Not amazing? And everyone loves rolls, so I don't know who's going to pass up on some nice, yummy, fluffy rolls. Not I. Delicious. Freshly milled whole grain rolls for the win.